Hi, this is Victoria Nale, an expert in energy and mineral extractions. Right now I am in Katwe, Kasese district, and this is called the Salt Lake Road, where salt is extracted from. I'm heading towards the gate and I'll be taking you through the process of salt extraction in Uganda. Definitely, as you will see, there are lots of challenges involved in the extraction of salt. The site employs 60% of the women, and we'll interview some of them to tell us their experiences. What kind of equipment do they use? What kind of protective gears do they have access to? And also, what kind of opportunities and challenges these people face in the extraction of salt in Lake Katwe.
Nicholas Kagonga, my name's. Welcome to this Katwe salt industry. It's a primary industry. We are extracting natural salt, which is a free gift of nature. We don't need to further process the salt that we extract from here. We don't need to add any chemical within the salt that we get from here. It is natural salt. Yeah, this is one of the oldest industry in Africa, which is still surviving, and is one of the biggest salt deposits in Uganda. Salt has been extracted on this lake mid 1400 up to the present date. We've not changed the way of harvesting salt. We're still using hands. We've not started using modern devices in extracting salt. Yeah, and the biggest labor here, it is provided by women, that is 60%. And men provide 40% of the labor within this industry. We have people who own salt plots on the shores of the lake. Those are called salt winners. And we have the salt extractors that directly extract rock salt from the lake bed.
What about the protective equipments? How do they protect themselves while extracting the salt?
Well, the women, we have a number of challenges here. We have environmental challenges, we have health challenges, a number of them to mention the few. But women usually have problems related with their uterus. For example, when they are working within the salt pans, there is a gas that escapes from the salt water, and that gas, it is called ammonia. So when the ammonia gas is escaping from the salt water with some traces of hydrogen sulfide fuel, that gas usually penetrates women through their reproductive system, and when it gets inside, their bodies start on irritating the uterus. Each plot is owned by a family. These plots, they are called salt pans. Here we call them amaziba. Amaziba, they are owned by families or by individuals. You own it like a garden. You own it for lifetime. And these ponds are not deep. They are very shallow, about 2 feet deep. And that's why we encourage women to work within these shallow salt ponds.
Because they are so shallow.
Yeah, they are so shallow. And the work here is always at its peak during the hot days of the year, because we depend on hot temperatures. During the wet season, no work within the salt pans. We are standing near the salt pan, and this is a chibanja for an individual. And after getting these pegs and the grass, you put in the side of the chibanja. After creating it, then you open up what we call a trench or a canal, which canal you use in diverting salt water from the main lake. After diverting it from the main lake, you allow it to access the salt pan. So after enclosing that salt water within a single pan or within a small area, then it means that you are increasing the rate of evaporation. And after the evaporation taking place, the salt water turn into crystals. So what you see on the top, that is a cream of salt, or you can call them salt flowers, hanging on the surface of the salt water. But that is real salt. But it is salt which is still young. So if you want this kind of salt to mature into big crystals, what you do, you sediment the flowers on top to settle at the bed of the pan. And that exercise of sedimentation, throwing water on the top of the salt flowers, after throwing water on top of the salt flowers goes at the bed of the salt pan. And this is the activity that one has to do every morning during the peak season. At the end of 7 days doing the same exercise, then you harvest salt. You find those layers that she has been sedimenting at the bed of the pan accumulated, stratified. Yes, that's what they extract at the end of 7 days. Know much about this land.
What is she doing right now?
She's using a hoe to gather salt, and after gathering it, she'll be using a scraper to scoop salt from the water to the side of the salt pan. Yeah.
Okay, so right now she's gathering the salt.
Yeah. She's gathering the salt, and this salt is for preserving hides and skins for animals.
This particular salt is for animals.
Yeah.
Can she also get the salt they use at home?
Yes, it is the same pan where we get the salt that we put in chicken or fish at home. Yeah.
For the international organizations out there, NGOs and other stakeholders who are interested in helping African people who are involved in small-scale mining, they should invest more in projects that have the ability of improving the kind of technology used by these people, because that's the main challenge we're facing in most of the small-scale mining activities.
That is a suit that there is one organization in Korea. They designed a costume for the salt extractors to use, and that was the costume. So that costume was connected to the gumboot.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would put on that costume with some gumboots up to the chest level. So that costume could not allow brine to get into contact with the skin. Yes, but the gumboot now, it seems they were removed.
What is it doing?
Mr. Salongo is using a spade to scoop mud from the bottom of the salt pan, cleaning it up, free from the mud, the black mud which is called trona.
And the boy is using his hands to get the mud?
Yeah, and that's the son to Salongo, so he's assisting the dad in scooping mud, but for him he's using what we call a plastic barrel to scoop mud, because he has no tool to use like a spade. So he's improvising by using that plastic barrel.
Why are they scooping the mud from the...
The mud is being scooped from the bottom of the salt pan to clean it up from that black mud, so that when salt is forming, it should land on a clean bottom of the salt pan. Yeah.
Then what happens after the mud has been scooped out?
Then in this process of scooping mud, they are trying to increase the rate of evaporation so that the salt water can easily crystallize and form some crystals of salt. That is a tool which is specifically used by men, and that tool is called tinga tinga. Tinga tinga, it is used by men in scratching mud at the bottom of the salt pan, even salt, but it needs a lot of energy to pull it, because it is a very heavy tool to use, and it doesn't allow a man to bend at an angle of 45. No, you bend at an angle of 90 degrees. 90 degrees when using it, scratching mud at the bottom of the salt pan or salt. So that's a very unique tool used by specifically men on Lake Katwe in the salt pans.
Salongo, how are you?
How are you?
I'm okay. How long have you been in this job?
Many years, about 30 years and something.
How do you find it? What challenges and opportunities do you face?
Okay, I'm okay. Many troubles, wounds, suffering, bodies, injury, except injury.
I've noticed that you are wearing a costume. How does it help?
This one, it is not enough to be useful, because the water enter inside. It's not enough.
So that you need like a better costume to protect you from the salty water.
Okay. We need useful and kufira, boots, covering all the body. To be useful. Using spoken, not learning so much.
It's okay, Salongo.
Okay.
Can I see the legs? You got wounds because of...
Wounds? Can't have wounds, but we have something to use, like gum. We stamp it, basket. Don't you see?
Okay.
Super glue.
Oh, you've used
and Patex, we use super glue and Patex.
You use super glue, so you put on
the wound.
Okay. When did you get the wound?
1 week over 2 weeks can be very well.
What's your name?
I'm called Musa.
Musa. How old are you?
20.
20.
Yeah.
You're working here with your dad?
Yeah.
How do you find the job?
Somewhat difficult, but nothing to do.
If you had another opportunity, you would do something else?
Yeah.
What challenges have you faced here?
Challenges? So many, but it's like we are facing some difficulties, but we try to do what? To get treatment, but things are not easy as I thought. But really, we face challenges like these wounds. Salt, when the salt is when days goes on, the salt become what? So hard. So when you enter this what they call salt pan, really you get some damages on your body. I think you see the way it does. So when another day you come in, this salt, you feel so much pain. So much pain. That's why we use super glue to cover our wounds, so we can get this one. But really it hurts, but we try to do something because nothing to do.
Okay, thank you.
These are different types of salt, different colors, and this salt, it is used at home. Now, there are some people who prefer to use the grey salt at home. This is another type of salt. When it is in contact with sunshine, it keeps on glittering like glass. And this one is taken mostly by foreigners. The Chinese are interested in this salt. We don't know why they're interested in the glittering salt.
Right now we're at Lake Katwe, where rock salt is extracted from, and Nicholas will be taking us through the different processes involved.
Welcome to the shores of Lake Katwe. This lake is around 2 square kilometers right now. So there are some men that walk inside the lake up to the middle of the lake with iron bars, which they use in opening rocks at the lake bed. After opening those rocks, they use their free hands to remove the rocks from the water and put that kind of salt on ambush rafts or ambush floats. And these ambush rafts or ambush floats are very light. They are able to float on top of the water, and they are used as means of transport to ferry salt from the middle of the lake to the edge of the lake. And after the salt being extracted, it is carried on ambush rafts to the shores of the lake, and this is the market now. So rock salt is arranged in piles. Why arranged in piles? Because we have to arrange it in this way so that we can dry it and ready to be loaded on the trucks to the market destination.
My name called Crane Makai.
Are you involved in the rock extraction of salt?
Of course.
How long have you been here?
Almost 10 years.
What kind of equipment do you use when you're going to extract the rock salt?
The equipment that we use here, we use the iron bars and this ambush filter.
Okay, I meant what kind of protective equipments, protective gears you use when you're going inside
the protective object here have that we use here. We use the gumboots, the stockings, even the cosmetics. After working, they have to bees, and you use cosmetics.
Okay. What kind of cosmetic?
Like Nevia or any other.
Okay. I heard that the salt water affects your bodies. Is there anything else you use apart from the gumboots?
For instance, I've been told that we use condoms, but it's not at all.
It's not true.
It's not at all that everybody has to use condom.
But do some people use condoms when they're getting?
Some use condoms to avoid the water that can enter through the penis, so that it can destroy.
Has been the process of salt extraction at Lake Katwe. Right now I'm going to be joined by Mr. Nicholas again, who will tell us some of the practical solutions we need to ensure that these people are helped. What kind of help do they need? Mr. Nicholas, what kind of practical solutions do we need here at the salt extraction?
Yeah, well, we are just requesting the government of Uganda and the international organization who could enter and assist the salt miners on the issues of health and safety of these extractors. We need gloves for them to put on the hands when they're extracting salt. We need helmets for them because they work for many hours within the lake, more than 6 to 7 hours, when they are exposed to hot temperatures, because this one being a depression, the lower you get here, the hotter it becomes. So they need their head at least to be protected from that direct heat from the sun. And then this is a community which is still behind in terms of education. Within this big community of 25,000 people, we still have one secondary school. And there are few children of the salt extractors that access education, free education education within the secondary school. And not all that the miners have the money to take their children to school.
Is there an organization which has come up to finance projects that have the ability of improving the kind of technology used here, the kind of tools you use?
Not really.
Don't you think it will be important? Don't you think that's a major thing that can help the people who are extracting the salt if they can access good tools and good technology, advanced technology?
Please, we would welcome that.
Thank you very much. As you've heard from Nicholas, we need more advanced technology in these areas. International organizations, NGOs, developmental partners, and other stakeholders invest in projects that have the ability of helping these people. We need advanced technology. We need the research, yes, but it shouldn't only be theoretical solutions. We need practical solutions if we are to help these people. Thank you.